Welcome to Ayurveda and Spirituality with your host, Alakananda Ma, a renowned Ayurvedic expert and a graduate of a top London medical school. She is the principal of Alundi Ayurveda Gurukula, a unique apprenticeship-style school in Boulder, Colorado. She is a spiritual mother, teacher, flower essence maker, and storyteller. Join us as we uncover the timeless principles of Ayurveda, discover practical tips for enhancing vitality, and explore the deeper dimensions of spirituality that intertwine with the ancient science of life.
Namaste, everyone. Welcome to our podcast for today. So it was time for a fun topic. The last 2 weeks, I had to work really, really hard on the topics. They were really in-depth. And today, for our Ayurveda topic, our monthly Ayurveda topic, we're going to talk about Nonnamaxxing and how it is really much more than a TikTok trend. Although Nonnamaxxing is a TikTok word, I'm not a TikTok person myself, but I do follow various professional sites that look at important trends on TikTok, both negative, like looks maxing, and positive, like Nonnamaxxing. Most things that are maxing, by the virtue of being max, are not very Ayurvedic because they don't involve balance, but Nonnamaxxing, yes. The more, the better. Basically, if you adopt the lifestyle habits of an Italian grandmother, you will be adopting habits that are definitely known to improve your health and mental well-being. And when I've read about Nonnamaxxing, I'm like, even though I have not one drop of Italian blood in me, and I'm not actually a grandmother, although I'm old enough to be one for sure, even so, seems like they're talking about me. So there's a lot of really profound lifestyle medicine within this Nonnamaxxing trend. It's much more than the next trend. It's something we need to build into our life. And it begins with positive social connections, making time for our friends and loved ones, whether you're a child, a student or youth, an adult or an elder. You need positive social connections. And we're not talking about dating. We're not talking about necessarily romantic connections. We're talking about all kinds of positive social connections. There is research that shows that social connection can reduce inflammation and improve our immunity. Well, back when we were going through the lockdown in 2020, we really had to figure out how to do our social connections because we couldn't really see anyone. We had a friend that we were making a bubble with that was helpful because we did Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's with our friend Sebastian because we had a bubble with him. That was really nice. I just love to host people and cook for them. I'm personally not someone that likes socializing and parties, and that's not necessarily what we mean by positive social connections, depending where you are in terms of extroversion, introversion, or in terms of shyness or being outgoing. You may or may not enjoy potlucks and social events, but you still, even if you're a major introvert, you still need to get together with people. That was one of my first lessons of lockdown is, I may be an introvert, but this is actually super boring, and I want to hang out with people. Sadanand heard Amritananda Mai say, call people, call your friends, help to break the isolation. So we have a friends phone list. We're old-fashioned. We have an old-fashioned phone. I'm in a landline phone, and we have lists. And he just kept on calling people, and people kept on calling us. And we even tried an Easter meal Zoom, like a Zoom shared meal with family in several countries. It didn't work quite as well because Sadanand and I don't really talk while we actually eat. And we also couldn't quite figure out how to all have the same meal, seeing some of us are vegetarian or some of us aren't. Potatoes ended up being the thing that connected all the meals. But yeah, we did try a Zoom shared meal. So connecting with people, getting together with your friends, talking to people, and even a brief experience like chatting with the checker at Ideal Market. Any brief connections are really, really helpful. So that's one really, really important part of the lifestyle trend that has gotten folded into Nonnamaxxing, is we really need positive social connections. And that means we have to look at things like commuting, which cut back on our time for social connections. We need to look at the time we spend scrolling, because social media is not a social connection. Talking to people on the phone definitely helps, and Zoom calls definitely help, but most of all, to hug one another, to smell one another, to feel one another's vibe in person, to feel that warmth is really good. The next thing that I absolutely loved about Nonnamaxxing is gardening. As an elder, if one gardens, I know it's one of my top physical activities. The digging, the way we water is with a hose around a large garden, hauling the hose, weeding. We're being outside, we're keeping moving, we have something that we're passionate about. So gardening does count as exercise. And exercise is really good for us. So gardening improves our mobility, we're less sedentary. We have to go out and water every day. We have to go out and weed. That keeps us moving, that keeps us healthy, that keeps us engaged. There's the beauty, there's the good food that we grow in our garden. And gardening is not only exercise for the body, it's exercise for the brain too, because we have to plan our garden, we have to coordinate, like coordinating getting the horse manure, coordinating when we weed which bed, coordinating the seeds, monitoring the garden, and all of the brain work that's involved in gardening supports our cognitive reserve. A cognitive reserve is extra healthy brain tissue that offsets the functional impairments of diseased brain matter in older people. So yay, people who garden have a lower likelihood of getting diagnosed with dementia. Gardening is good for you. Once I saw the gardening, I was like, yes, Nonnamaxxing is talking about me. Then another key thing in Nonnamaxxing is home cooking. Cooking your own meals at home. We're hosting a guest, our very old friend right now, Swami Paramananda, and he did say, well, now I'm here, as he'd been traveling in various places, I'm going to feel better because I'm going to be eating healthier meals. If you garden, especially, and you cook, you're going to have more vegetables, more fruits, a more fiber-rich diet. You're not going to have all the added sugar and added salt that you find in takeouts, restaurant meals, things you pick up, frozen, and so on. They all have additives. They all have what I consider too much salt. They often have sugar that's sneaking in. I personally, number one, feel a lot safer not eating out because when I cook at home, I know what goes into my food. I cannot digest onions. I know when I'm at home, my food won't have onions. It won't have added sugar unless sugar is an ingredient. If I'm making a dessert for a feast, we don't make desserts on a daily basis. On a daily basis, garden salads. We have wonderful salads with so much variety you can have in a salad when you're picking all kinds of little sprouts and leaves and herbs and weeds and all kinds of yummy things from your garden for your salad. We eat vegetables, vegetables, and vegetables. Whether we garden or in that dry period when you finally have run out of stored garden vegetables and you have to actually buy vegetables from the store, still vegetables, vegetables, vegetables. You know, when you're cooking at home, you can use the healthy oils. Here we like ghee or sunflower oil for Indian food because olive oil doesn't taste right for Indian. For everything else, we use olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, absolutely wonderful to have as a cooking medium and to drizzle on your food as well. So cooking is not only that you're going to get better meals. For me, it's just something I love to do. When I'm thinking of things that I love to do, it's gardening and cooking. And again, I'm using a lot of that cognitive reserve for cooking because I have to plan the menus. Someone shops for us once a week, so I have to plan the shopping carefully, plan the menus based on what we have or what needs to get used up. I have something I make called vegetable drawer soup, which involves using everything in the vegetable drawer that's actually saying, hey, you better eat me before it's too late. I also have one called Huddy's Family Use Up Soup, which is when you combine a number of foods you already cooked together to make a delicious soup. I make a vegetable broth every week from the offcuts of our vegetables and often from things I weed from the garden as well. I'm always thinking about food, but not like in an unhealthy way, and in a healthy, exciting way that it's really become one of my creative arts. You want to think about the colors and the beauty of the food. I might pick foods, a meal with different ethnicities. Yesterday, a friend brought us baguette. That was a rare treat. And so I made Provençal pistou soup, very last minute, but I had the vegetables in the garden. I'd had another meal planned, but we'll have that today. I made Provençal pistou soup, and I made a French-style cucumber salad with one of the cucumbers from the garden, and that's what we had with our baguette. So there's a tremendous amount of engagement and excitement and creativity that goes into cooking at home, as well as saving money on eating out, being able to do thrifty eating, being able to share with others and have something to give them. I just earlier this week made a really nice batch of the Palestinian purslane soup from our purslane weeds. And so I made a double batch and brought one jar over to our neighbors. So yes, Nonnamaxxing home cooking, that is absolutely wonderful. So the gardening, the social connections, cooking at home, trying to stay connected, So maybe you all can't have the opportunity to do all the things that I get to do. As I mentioned, when you can't meet people in person, like my family's on another continent, or your family might be in another state, or during the lockdown, Zoom calls and phone calls are a lot better than nothing. But voice is better than text, because a text or an email is only 5% of a human interaction. If they can't see your body language, at least let them hear your voice. And if you can't have your garden, maybe you can grow something. We always used to grow microgreens on our windowsill. We didn't call them microgreens back in the day. We called them cress, mustard and cress, which a sandwich in England is not complete without mustard and cress, and we always grow our fresh mustard and cress on a windowsill. Maybe you can grow some African violets in a windowsill. Maybe you can have a window box. Maybe you can have some planters outside where you can grow. One of the students' garden is her tomato plant, which she's very proud of and gives a lot of love and attention to. That's what she has the space for and the time for, and she's taking care of her tomato plant. I hope she gets lots of lovely tomatoes. If you don't already cook at home, what we recommend in Ayurveda is start step by step. So patients that don't cook, sometimes they need to start by buying some pans. One couple who said, well, step one, we now own some pans, so we can cook at home. I think the most they did at home before was grill. They got pans. Then see if you can start off on a weekend making one meal. And they can last you a couple of days because you can use the leftovers. Then see if you can take it to 2 meals. Then 3 meals. You can have simple food. We like to recommend Danielle's 30-minute Ayurvedic cookbook. That's got pretty simplified recipes where you don't have to go out and buy all these different spices and everything. So you can start simple. You can start making your own khichdi. There are lots of one-pot recipes on the website. So if you don't cook, just build it up step by step. Because Nonnamaxxing is more than a trend. It's talking about a healthy way of life. A life that is truly worth living, and that is not a life in service of scrolling. That is not a life all in your car. That is a human life that has gone on for untold centuries, where people connect with people, where we get our instruments and play or sing, where we share together, where we talk about our dreams, about our hopes, about how our day went, where we stay connected with friends, where we feed people, where we enjoy the colors and the textures involved in eating, where we grow things. I must say, with this drought, I am extremely grateful, thanks to the city of Boulder. We are still able to have our garden. I don't know if even the weeds would grow if we were not allowed to water our garden. But we'd definitely be reduced to eating only weeds if we were not allowed to water. So we're very lucky. Garden while you can. Okay, so I don't have one drop of Italian blood in me as far as I know. But what I read about Nonnamaxxing, I'm like, woo! They are talking about me. Okay, so that was a fun one for today, and next week we'll go back to discussing the Upanishads.
Thank you for tuning in to Ayurveda and Spirituality with Alakananda Ma. We hope today's exploration has ignited a spark of curiosity and insight within you. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a 5-star review and share it with a friend. For more enlightening discussions and practical wisdom on Ayurveda and spirituality, subscribe and join our Facebook group, Alundi Ayurveda. To allow us to continue sharing valuable content, consider donating to Alundi Ashram. The links will be in the show notes. Until next time, may you walk the path of Ayurveda with grace and embrace the light of spiritual wisdom in your journey.